My brother Thomas and I were never close. Our childhood home was silent, our parents distant. We learned to keep to ourselves. Thomas left as soon as he could. I stayed a little longer, then left too. No goodbyes. For 10 years, we didn't speak. Not a call, not a letter. It was as if we lived on different planets. I built a new life, far from those cold memories. I thought I'd closed that chapter forever. Then, a plain white envelope arrived. No return address. Inside, a single brass key and a note in Thomas's handwriting. The note said, "The house is yours, I'm sorry." Sorry for what? The key felt heavy, a question I couldn't ignore. I knew it was for his house on Hemlock Lane, a place I'd never seen, never wanted to. I could have thrown the key away, but curiosity gnawed at me. What had happened to Thomas? This silence felt final. I wrestled with the decision for days. The key sat on my counter, a silent challenge. Finally, I packed a bag and told my boss I needed time off for a family matter. The drive to his town was long and quiet, dread growing with every mile. I wasn't just driving to a house, I was driving toward an answer I wasn't sure I wanted. The sky was gray, matching the mood in my heart. I was a detective, and the mystery was my own brother. I arrived at Hemlock Lane, the key cold in my hand. I stood outside, staring at the house that now belonged to me. I wondered what secrets waited inside. The silence of our childhood echoed in my mind. I took a deep breath and stepped forward. Whatever Thomas wanted to tell me, I was ready to listen. The past was calling, and I couldn't ignore it any longer. I was about to open a door I'd spent my whole life avoiding, and I had no idea what I would find on the other side. The house was small, faded blue, and neglected. Weeds choked the lawn, paint peeled, windows stared blankly. I stood on the sidewalk, heart pounding, then walked up the cracked path. The key turned with a grinding click. The door creaked open, revealing darkness and a strange, sweet, rotten smell. Inside, dust covered everything. A newspaper from months ago, a mug with mold, silence pressing in. I moved through the rooms. Living room, kitchen, all frozen in time. Dirty dishes in the sink, a calendar stuck on April. It was July now. He'd been gone for months. Everything was as he left it. Down a narrow hallway, 2 doors waited. One led to a messy bedroom. The other, at the end, was closed. A cold draft seeped from beneath it. Something about that door felt different, ominous. I hesitated, then reached for the handle. The house felt like it was holding its breath. I was about to find out why. My brother's world was a world of shadows and secrets. I was inside it now, and there was no turning back. The door at the end of the hall called to me. The air grew colder as I approached. My hand shook as I turned the icy knob. Inside, a small, windowless room with a single humming chest freezer. The freezer was old, padlocked, out of place. Dread washed over me. Why lock a freezer? I searched the kitchen, found a small key labeled "Keep Cold." Heart pounding, I returned, unlocked the padlock, and lifted the lid. A blast of frosty air and a sickly sweet smell hit me. Inside, plastic-wrapped packages of meat. Some small, some large. Then I saw them, small white objects mixed in with the frozen flesh. I reached in and pulled out a human tooth, a molar with a silver filling. I dropped it, horrified, and saw more teeth scattered among the packages, dozens of them pale and gleaming in the frost. My mind reeled. What had Thomas done? The freezer was a grave, a secret kept on ice. I staggered back, unable to breathe. The truth was colder than the room itself. I wanted to run, but I couldn't move. The silence was broken only by the freezer's lonely hum. I had found my brother's secret, and it was monstrous. I fled the house, horror chasing me all the way to my car. I drove without looking back. The image of the freezer burned into my mind. Days blurred together. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. The hum of the freezer haunted me. I saw teeth in every shadow, smelled rot in every room. I felt sick, weak, and alone, trapped in a nightmare I couldn't escape. I never called the police. What could I say? Who would believe me? Fear kept me silent. The secret was a weight I carried alone. My brother's darkness had infected me. I was haunted by what I'd found, and by what it meant. The world outside felt distant, unreal. I was changed, broken by the truth. The silence of our family had become a prison. I wondered if Thomas had felt the same way. I wondered if the hunger would ever leave me. The secret was alive inside me, growing colder every day. I was alone with it, and the loneliness was unbearable. A week later, a package arrived, no return address. My name in Thomas's handwriting. The box was cold, the smell familiar and wrong. I knew I should throw it away, but I couldn't. Inside, a butcher's box tied with red string. I opened it. A single, perfect steak, red and marbled, sat on white paper. It looked fresh, too fresh. I stared at it, torn between horror and a strange, gnawing hunger. I put it in the fridge, but its presence filled the apartment. The hum of the fridge grew louder, shadows moved at the edge of my vision. I heard whispers, my brother's voice calling from the dark. The line between reality and nightmare blurred. The house on Hemlock Lane was far away, but its darkness had followed me home. The steak was a message, a challenge, a curse. I couldn't escape it. I was being drawn back into my brother's world, and I didn't know if I wanted to resist. That night, I dreamed I was back in the cold room. Thomas stood by the open freezer, smiling. He looked healthy, happy. Nothing like the brother I remembered. "It's a gift," he said, "our family legacy. It will make you strong." He handed me a package, the same steak from my fridge. "You're hungry," he said. "You need this." In the dream, the meat looked delicious. My hunger was overwhelming. Suddenly, we were at a dinner table in a warm kitchen. A fire crackled nearby. Thomas sat across from me, urging me to eat. I cut into the steak. It was the best thing I'd ever tasted. Rich, powerful, alive. I felt strong, whole, at peace. I woke up, the taste still in my mouth, the hunger still in my bones. The fear was gone, replaced by clarity. I walked to the kitchen, opened the fridge, and stared at the steak. The hum was a whisper, calling me. The dream hadn't been a nightmare. It was an invitation. I knew what I had to do. I was no longer afraid. The hunger was part of me now. I was ready to accept my brother's legacy. The silence between us was finally broken. I was part of the family again, and I understood what that meant. I cooked the steak, no seasoning, just heat and hunger. The smell filled my apartment, rich and familiar. I ate, each bite dissolving fear and weakness, filling me with strength. The whispers stopped. The shadows vanished. The hum faded. I felt at peace, as if I'd come home. I saw my reflection. My eyes were different, calm, confident. I understood now. This was my inheritance. Thomas hadn't abandoned me. He'd given me a legacy. The house, the key, the freezer, they were invitations, not curses. I was no longer alone. My brother was part of me, deeper than blood. The silence of our childhood was over. I had found my family, my brother, myself. The hunger was a gift, not a curse. I would return to Hemlock Lane, not to clean, but to continue. The freezer was no longer a tomb, but a promise. I was ready to carry on. The past was no longer something to escape. It was my future. I was no longer afraid. I was finally home.